Good afternoon. My name is Brian Runciman. I'm Head of Content and Insight at BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. We've got a really exciting event this afternoon. So we're glad to welcome you along. Truly, it's going to be an international event. We're focusing particularly on IT careers in Nigeria, as you'll see from the information that's already been posted out about this. We've got some interesting people to listen to as well. We've got the President of BCS, the President of the Nigerian Computer Society. We're going to hear from really quite a famous person, Imafidon, who's done a very encouraging little snappy video for us. So please settle down. You are allowed to put questions to the panels, the speakers, as we go through. We will do our best to pick them up as we go. There is a Q&A session at the end, and I will have to go through those. That's partly what I'm here for. So feel free to put your questions in there. If you're not familiar with the Zoom, which I'm sure you are, it's at the bottom of the screen, Q&A, two little dialogue boxes. You just click on that and you can put a question in. If the question is about the event, careers questions, exam curriculum-based questions, that's going to be fine. We'll pick up as many of those as we can. More prosaic questions, if you're worried about an upcoming sitting for an exam, we're not going to be picking those sorts of things up, just to warn you. Those things will be dealt with, of course, so we're quite happy to do that through the customer service line and things like that. But if you could do your best to stick to subjects that are related to the things that we're talking about, that'd be much appreciated. So can I extend a welcome to you, first of all, then, from BCS. What I'm going to do initially is hand over to the president, the newly incoming president of BCS, John Higgins. So John is going to do an introductory speech for us. I'd like to hand over to you, John, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Brian, for pointing out that basic error there. I'm really sorry that I can't see you all, see your faces. It would be great when we're able to do that again. And I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to talk to you for a few minutes at the beginning of this great event. You know, I was at a board meeting for a small charity the other day that I'm involved with, and the chair was reminding us of when she worked in Hong Kong, and she said she often had to say to people, don't bring problems to me, bring solutions. And I was reflecting on the fact that in the IT profession that I've been involved with all my life, really had to do that, because I found most of the people I worked with had this sort of intense curiosity and were really focused on solving problems and creating opportunities. They rarely came to me with problems. It was nearly always, you know, how can I fix this? And I think there really are in our profession facing us some fantastic, exciting, challenging problems to solve and opportunities to grasp. But I'll come back later to a few of the things I've been involved with that, you know, make me think that. You've got a great session lined up today, a couple of topics on it that I really would, listen to it all. But I think when you get to Stephen talking about the global pinnacle of excellence, and then Brian later on why professionalism matters, you know, pay good attention. I think these are really important points at the moment. Particularly the thing about professionalism and why ethical values matter. As we all know, technologies can be, well, just poorly produced, or they can just be used to do bad things. We all know that. There was a report, in fact, it got some coverage in the Financial Times this morning, a report from our Trades Unions Congress, the TUC in the UK, talking about the experience of algorithms at use in the workplace and identifying many concerns that people at work had about the use of technology. And I think we'll see more and more of those issues as technology becomes more pervasive. It will be used in ways that make society feel a little bit uncomfortable. Often not deliberately, just sort of unthinkingly in some ways as we push boundaries. And that's, to me, I see more and more of that. And that's why I think that combination of globally excellent competencies with the ethical values that come with professionalism and a professional approach, why they are going to become more and more important. Employers will be looking for people who can balance that global excellent competence with that intuitive and practical understanding of what the sort of ethical boundaries are, which, as you know, are not hard and fast, but differ in different parts of the world and differ as societies change their views on what they like. So that sort of a good ethical sense is going to be really important. And that's why working with a professional body like the BCS will give you that sort of ethical nose and that ethical ability that goes beyond just the competencies that you will pick up. So, you know, really pay attention when you get to that bit on global excellence and on professionalism. I just wanted to, you know, wrap up my few minutes with you just by talking to you about some of the experiences that I've had and that really bring home to me why this is such an important profession to be involved with and why right now is so important. So I was sitting through an event organized by my local accelerator for new business startups a few weeks ago, helping to prepare the companies to pitch to venture capitalists and other investors as they went through their fundraising process. And this was a day-long exercise with a variety of different businesses in many different applications. I mean, for example, one was about reducing leakage in gas mains, but there were all sorts of different things. But what really struck me was that nearly every business was pitching the fact that they were using machine learning or some sort of AI or some advanced process automation, you know, in their bid. And they were saying it almost casually. It was like, well, of course we are, because every business now has to have that sort of thing. I mean, it really was everywhere. And another experience I had relatively recently, I was asked to help with the launch of a new university in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, where they've created a new university for AI. And I met the United Arab Emirates AI minister, a young guy. I mean, I thought, wow, that's quite something when countries are appointing AI ministers. And then, I mean, perhaps an experience from a few years ago that was maybe a bit different, certainly to my experience in the IT profession until that point, was when I was asked to go and join a business that allowed musicians to play together in virtual recording studios. Now, I'd done lots of business software over my time, you know, accounting software and other applications throughout my career in different sectors, and I'd really enjoyed it. I mean, you get insights into everything from the public sector to banking to manufacturing, travel, you know, all sorts of businesses. Because when you're in the IT profession, you end up working, you can end up working in a huge variety of things. But this was new to me. This was a friend of mine who joined a venture capital company, and they were putting some money into this new startup. And it was based partly in London and partly in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I think the pitch to me was, well, look, John, you know something about technology, you know a little bit about the music business. I didn't really, but enough. And he said, we're looking for someone to come and run this new startup. And it was a great ride. I really, really enjoyed it. The software development was being done in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the music influences were from a set of London studios. The first thing I noticed when I went out to Santa Fe was they definitely had that. I know New Mexico is not quite West Coast, but they had a bit of a laid back West Coast attitude to things. So first thing I had to do was introduce some project discipline to it, which didn't go down too well to begin with, but I think that's part of what we have to have as IT professionals, the ability to enjoy the technology, but recognize that there's only a certain amount of time on the project or money available. So we brought some project disciplines into it. And then, you know, we just had a great time developing this software. We were using core applications that had come out of further west in Silicon Valley from the great Xerox campus of the day. And we went on to launch this service, as I say, allowed musicians to play together in virtual recording studios. in New York nightclubs, in a series of events around New York nightclubs. And I can honestly say, when I started my IT profession, putting accounting systems into companies, I didn't think I'd end up working in software that was launched in New York nightclubs. That was a great contrast, and I really enjoyed doing that. But you know, one of the things I learned from it as well, and don't tell everyone that I said this, by the way, but the people in the IT sector were just nicer people than in the music industry. I really found that in IT, the people I've worked with throughout my career have, as I said, always been curious, problem solvers, you know, wanting to put the world to rights. And now there is no better time to be involved with it. So I congratulate you all for choosing the best profession in the world with the greatest opportunities. And I really mean that, the greatest opportunities are yet to come. And I hope you have a great experience working with what is undoubtedly one of the best professional bodies in the world, with a good long track record and pedigree. I think if we'd been holding this event 50 years ago, notwithstanding the fact that we wouldn't have been able to hold this event 50 years ago, can't imagine what the equivalent of Zoom was back then, you would have actually had here talking to you as the president, the Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent, who remains our patron to this day. So BCS, great organisation, long history, but right on the sort of issues of the day, the competencies of the day, and I hope that as you go through your conference this afternoon and hear more about the qualifications and about the importance of global excellence and professionalism, you have an inspiring day and you go home sort of fired up to get on with what you've set out to do. So with that, Brian, thank you very much. I'll hand back to you.
Thank you very much, John. Very much appreciated that presentation. I think what we learned from that is that IT can be cool, and John's probably a lot cooler than even we thought. So that's lovely. Thank you for your presentation. It's a good start for us for the day. We've already had some questions come in on the Q&A about HEQ, what those higher education qualifications are about. Well, actually, we're going to come on to that a little bit later, but keep questions coming in, please, and we'll pick up those that we can on the way. Before that, we're going to have a short video that we recorded just a week or two back with really quite a well-known name, perhaps the best-known Nigerian computing name in the UK, certainly. That's Anne-Marie Imafidon. She's had so many awards and accolades that I couldn't list them in the next half an hour or so. So instead, what we'll do is just listen to her, and perhaps you can have a little read up about her later on if you hadn't come across her before. Well worth doing. So I'm going to ask Jotin to play that video in for us, please.
My name is Anne-Marie Imafidon. I am CEO and co-founder of the STEMettes. I'm host of the Women Tech Charge podcast, and I'm also a trustee at the Institute for the Future of Work. And as you may have guessed from my accent, I'm based here in the UK, but as you may have guessed from my name, I am Omonaija. I'm a child of Nigeria, and I'm also a woman in technology. In 2020, I was voted the most influential woman in UK IT. But today, I want to talk to you as fellow Nigerians about exploring a career in technology, about becoming a part of this industry, about what it was to have Nigerian parents wanting to go into tech in the 90s, but also what it is to be able to have a voice and to be able to have some kind of control, have some kind of power, I guess, for having technical skills. So I feel really fortunate actually to be a British Nigerian and to be someone who's got a lot of strength and has drawn a lot of strength and stability from my identity as a Nigerian. And I think it's something you can never take for granted, especially for those of you listening to this today, that knowing where you've come from, knowing your heritage, knowing what's been before is something that's really, really powerful. And it's definitely a privilege and can definitely be an advantage for you as well. Because growing up in the world, being in different places, going into different rooms and different environments, it means you know what you're standing on. It means you know kind of where you've come from. And so you've got a better idea of where you're heading to. And for me, this also meant that I had Nigerian parents, which is all the blessing that it can be, as well as all the challenges that can come with that. And so it meant that I was really, really fortunate, again, to grow up in an environment where education was always valued, where hard work was always valued, and where I really, really did feel supported in decisions that I was making and in the progress that I knew I wanted to make, but also in the potential that I had. And so I think it's something for me that is as supportive as my parents are and as great as they are, I think you also have to know that you sometimes, at some point, need to find your own way. And this is definitely something that I came up against wanting to go into technology. My dad's an ophthalmologist, so more wanted me to kind of go to the medical side of things. My mum's a linguist and studied English, and so she wanted me to go that way. And of course, I chose maths and technology, which is neither of those ways, and also meant that they felt challenged at times. Because I didn't understand what I was doing or working on or going through, or the decisions I was making. They didn't necessarily always understand, but I think it's been really nice now that I'm older and now that I've been able to achieve more and that they've seen some of the fruits of my labour, that they are incredibly supportive. And I think it's something for you definitely to kind of keep in mind as you make decisions about what happens next for you. Why was tech something I wanted to choose? Well, technology for me is creative. Technology is, of course, logical, but technology is something that allows you to dream something up, be super imaginative, think of a solution to a problem or think of a way to improve something. And for you to then be able to apply that knowledge is something that I've always found really liberating. So where other people might have liked drawing or might have liked singing or might have liked, I don't know, writing poems, for me, building that database, or for me, creating that website or whatever else it might be, exploring that new part of artificial intelligence has always been what's kept me ticking, but mostly because it's about solving problems, which I think is something that maybe we don't hear enough about for technology careers. I think a lot of folks think about the money, a lot of folks think about the prestige, but for me, there's so many problems, and you'll have seen this definitely kind of in your own life, in your own world, in those around you, that there are so many problems that people have. And actually technology is one of those things that you can use it as a tool and you can apply it to lots of different scenarios and help lots of different people in a really repeatable way. And so that's why technology was something that really excited me and something that I've really delved in. So the final thing I wanted to kind of talk about, as I've only got 5 minutes, was to talk about, as you're making these decisions and as you're exploring what happens next for you, I think the final thing that, I wish for all of you, and I pray for all of you that you can hold on to, is understanding the sense of value that there is in your perspective. And I know this is something that comes up quite a lot when I speak to folks in Nigeria, when I speak to my cousins, when I speak to lots of different types of people about, why is my voice going to be heard in tech? I'm just a girl, I'm just a Nigerian girl, just from the village. Why is anyone going to think that what I say is important? And I think it's going to be really important for you to understand and to remember that, the people you think create tech, the people you think that are big in this industry, have one perspective, they have one set of experiences. Often they have one way of solving problems. And if this tech is all about solving problems, if it is about being able to take control, if it is about exercising some of the power that you have, and that there's power in your perspective. And so it's going to be really important for you to kind of hold on to that and keep hold of it. And it's what's driven me, it's what keeps me, in the privileged position that I am, in that I know any room I go into, any board I'm on, any position of authority I have, I'm always able to bring, what does Anne-Marie think? What does the young British Nigerian girl from East London, what is the perspective that I have that's going to be different from the other folks around the table? And I'm always bold and I'm always strong in knowing that there's value in that perspective, because there'll be many others who are like me in some way. And that is what's missing from the technology industry at the moment. And that's why actually we need more people like you. But it's also why the technology industry has not been able to solve as many problems as it should have done in as deep and as good a way as it should have done so far. So I'm going to close there. I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning into this. Thanks for listening. I want to say Naja no de carry last. And so remember, we need you. We're waiting for you. Our Nigerian girls in tech, up, up.
Excellent. So as I said, very enthusiastic, some lovely remarks there, I'm sure you'll agree. Now we're going to move on to have a conversation now about some of the higher education qualifications. Before we do that, we've had a question come in from Ayobami Abbas about whether we're going to discuss securing investor or funding opportunities for business startups. That's not really the focus of this session. Really, it's about starting and continuing your IT career, where you need to go, what's going to help you, the role of professionalism and those kinds of things. So stay tuned for that. And very much in the spirit of that, we're going to introduce Zoe Spielberg to speak to us now. She's specifically talking about this subject, starting out your career of study with BCS Higher Education Qualifications. So over to you, Zoe.
Thank you very much. Joe, if you wouldn't mind putting up the slide deck. Lovely. Thank you. All got that, I imagine. Perfect. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview, really, of what the higher education qualifications from BCS involve. BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT, has been supporting careers, driving standards and improving education for over 60 years. We are accredited by the UK qualification regulator Ofqual, which serves to maintain standards in qualifications and examinations in a way that's internationally recognised and valued. So the HEQ is examined at 3 levels, and the flexibility and affordability of the programme enables candidates to opt in and exit at the right level to suit them when it suits them. The cutting edge curriculum caters to and responds to industry demand, and BCS qualifications are recognised by employers all around the world. Successful candidates are competitive in the job market with proven credentials that align to internationally recognised standards and the IT Professional Ethical Code of Conduct. Completion of the higher levels opens up opportunities to apply for professional registration with RIT Tech, the Independent Competency Standard for technical professionals, and Chartered IT Professional status, where you can set yourself apart as a highly skilled IT professional able to play a part in shaping the profession's development. And you're going to hear some more about that later on. This background gives employers confidence that an HEQ graduate is extremely competent and that they have the skill set to deliver technology, both ethically and to the highest quality and standards. Could I have the next slide, please, Joe? Thank you. So who is HEQ for? The answer is it's accessible and available to an enormous range of learners. If you're still at school but are thinking ahead about developing your IT competency to keep all options open for your future, the Level 4 certificate could be for you. Or you may have recently started a career in the IT industry and are wanting to join a respected learning pathway to enable you to reach your future goals. Or perhaps you've been working in IT for a number of years and are looking to find a way to enhance your skill set and capabilities, but you need to continue working while you do it. The flexibility of HEQ would certainly work with you to do that. Finally, you may be in a position that many people are increasingly finding themselves in response to COVID-19, and that is that you want a complete change of focus and move from your current non-tech-based role into the dynamic and fast-moving world of IT. Again, HEQ can support you every step of the way. We want you to go on a journey with us and be a member of the BCS family from the start of your IT journey, through all of your studies and onto your career and beyond. So we try to make it as accessible as possible for you to join us at a stage and a pace to suit your requirements. Next slide, please, Joe, where we'll look into the detail of the course a little. So as I've said, there are 3 levels of HEQ, and you can take them in a manner that works for your individual situation. The first one is the certificate in IT that sits at UK qualification level 4. For this, you will study 3 core modules covering the fundamental principles in IT, information systems, software development, and computer and network technology. We recommend this programme should take around 200 hours of study per module, and it's ideal for students looking to build a solid foundation for a career in IT and computing. Once you've passed the certificate exam, you can exit the HEQ programme, or, as we would recommend, you can decide to continue on to the level 5 diploma. This diploma is for when you're ready to start developing specialist skills and comprises a core mandatory module in professional issues in information systems, and then 3 other modules you can choose from a diverse range of subjects ranging from database systems, software engineering to principles of internet technologies. For these, we recommend around 225 hours of study per module. If you wish to leave your HEQ journey at level 5, in order to certificate, you will need to complete a 5,000 word professional project to qualify. To do this, you submit a project proposal to BCS, which our assessors review to ensure your chosen project is suitable. Alternatively, you can just complete and pass the level 5 exams to move straight into the final level 6 programme. The Professional Graduate Diploma in IT comprises 4 optional modules here to suit your chosen career path. We recommend around 250 study hours for each of these 4 modules. And all candidates need to complete a 10,000 word professional project to complete and certificate with their full HEQ qualification. It's just worth mentioning that level 6 qualifications sit at the same level as a university degree with honours, and there is the potential for an HEQ graduate to find and join a master's degree programme at university following that if desired. Let's look at the exams on the next slide, please, Joe. Thank you. The examinations are all paper-based and handwritten and include short and long answer questions. You can see the details of their format here. In order to sit your exams, you need to be a BCS member, and we offer discounted rates spanning 4 years of membership to support you in that. Later in this webinar, Steve is going to talk to you about the wealth of learning resources, mentoring and industry insights that the membership community offers you, both while you're studying and for the duration of your career. All this information and much more on all of the detail can be found in our HEQ guide that can be downloaded directly from our website. But before I leave you, if I could have the next slide, please, Joe. Thanks. I just want to quickly signpost that HEQ is mapped to the Sophia Plus IT Skills Framework. Sophia, which stands for the Skills Framework for the Information Age, is a globally recognised standard developed by industry experts and backed by government as best practice for identifying and developing IT capability. Sophia Plus was developed by BCS to bring the Sophia framework to life, and it allows you to plot your career progression against an industry-defined benchmark, showing you your current technical skills, uncovering your less developed areas, helping you identify career next steps and learning opportunities. Using this framework, you can benchmark your skills against the rest of industry to gain an independent assessment of your capabilities. And this is available to you in the My BCS element of your membership. All BCS certifications, apprenticeships, professional standards, including our IT Tech and CITP, are aligned to the Sophia Plus. So you can be sure that you're working and progressing at the correct level at whichever point of your journey with BCS you're at. And just final slide, please. I hope this has given you an insight into the HEQ pathway and has demonstrated how it can kickstart and support and develop your career in the global IT industry. We're really proud of these qualifications and hope that we can welcome you onto the programme at some point in the future. I'm now going to hand back to Brian, who's going to introduce you to some people who will be able to bring this to life and to talk with direct personal experience about what it's like to both deliver and receive an HEQ education. Thank you, Brian.
Zoe, thank you very much for giving us that overview. That was very useful indeed. And as you say, we're going to just hear from some people that have been through this whole situation themselves, so can speak from experience. Before we get on to them, we've had some more questions in. Please keep them coming. Thank you very much. We're doing our best to get around to all of them. I noticed a couple of attendees have got their hands raised. There's not a lot I can do with that during a live webinar, I'm afraid. So if you want to pop any queries you have in the chat, you're welcome to do so. But don't think I haven't noticed you. I have, but we're going to hand over now to Kola Ojo. Kola is the CEO of CompuNet. He's going to be joined by 2 former HEQ students. So we're really going to hear from the coalface. So over to you, please, Kola. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. My name is Kola Ojo. Again, with CompuNet Limited in Nigeria. We are an accredited training partner with BCS in Nigeria. It's been very interesting to watch and see how the HEQ program have developed over the period of 7 years that we have been with BCS in Nigeria. And you know, Brian, one of the most interesting things that for me is the fact that the HEQ qualification has been fantastic, revealing, and refreshing. One of the experiences that called to mind was one student that joined Julius's set. Julius is going to be talking to us briefly. That came in on board to learn under the HEQ program. He found that his journey in IT profession can be redefined, shaped, and have a professional future with the HEQ program. Now, our experience in Nigeria has been fantastic and has been great, in that we find out that the HEQ program is not an affront to Nigerian qualification or education. During Zoe's presentation, she mentioned that the PGD level of the HEQ program is equivalent to a degree program in Nigeria, which means that studying from the CIT to the DIT to the PGD level gives you an opportunity to earn a degree in Nigeria. Now, the HEQ curriculum is so built in a way that it gives hands-on experience, and you don't necessarily have to be an IT person to be able to undertake this course. Again, it is self-paced. You can take it as long as you want to. You can do self-study as long as you want. It can be just one course module that you can take as a time. I saw somebody ask a question about costing. It has been designed in a way that you can take just a course per time without having to do all three at the same time. Flexible, cheap, and quality assured, cost effective. You can study at your own pace. Also, like Julius, who is currently in India, who's also going to be talking to us, and a number of other students we have across who have graduated from here in Nigeria. We have centers in various parts of Nigeria, in Kano, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Enugu, and so on and so forth, also in Jos. The course curriculum is also complete and relevant. We have found that right from the CIT module, students are able to program solutions and solve problems at their level. And for me, that is one of the most interesting and exciting things to watch, to see how that students can go from novice to developing software solutions for industries. We had a couple of students, especially those who started, like Zoe showed to us from the secondary school. We did an hackathon for them, and it was interesting to watch, to see how they develop software solutions that can solve their school problem. One of our HEQ students just developed a school automation software for a school here in Jos during the lockdown. And it started studied right here from BCS. So it is flexible, it is cost quality assured, it is complete and relevant. We have dedicated trainers. All our trainers are BCS accredited. The way BCS works, nobody just comes into the classroom to train. All the trainers are BCS accredited. Also, for me, the most exciting part was seeing people not getting stuck with the BCS qualification. It opens them up to other opportunities across the world and professionally relevant in Nigeria. For students who are anticipating to join the BCS program, the HEQ program, another exciting news is that you can serve NYSC in Nigeria. Now, NYSC is a one-year mandatory service that every graduate in Nigeria must undertake before they begin their professional pursuits. BCS HEQ program in Nigeria, with BCS HEQ program in Nigeria, you can serve NYSC. Why? Because it is degree equivalent. I would like to call on Julius to talk more about his experience when he studied BCS HEQ program here in Nigeria.
Good day, all. As you've heard, my name is Julius. I started my journey in IT 2014. I enrolled for BCS. I started with CIT, then I went on to DIT, and finally rounded up with PGD. My experience was really educational. We had highly skilled lecturers. They were very committed to making sure every terms that pertains to syllabus was clearly understood. Earlier, I didn't have very good IT knowledge, but as soon as I went through my years in BCS, I was able to gain competence. After graduating in 2017, I applied for a master's degree in India, and I got accepted, completed my master's. Currently, I'm doing a PhD in natural language processing. That's an aspect of artificial intelligence. All of this was founded on the basis of BCS. And through my path in studies, I've always seen how BCS played the role. There were things that I can relate with now that I already knew during my study years with BCS. Thank you.
Thank you, Julius. It will also interest our audience to know that we have over 2,000 candidates sitting the BCS qualification in Nigeria per module. And that's very, very huge. That tells you that you are not alone. You're not coming into something that is completely brand new and that is not relevant, especially in Nigeria. And at the moment, over the past 7 years, we have seen over 7,500 plus students pass through our training. And so it's relevant, it is quality assured, it is relevant to the Nigerian market. You can actually do your master's in Nigeria without going to India like Julius. And of course, because it's an internationally recognized program, you can equally do your master's anywhere abroad. Also, I'd like to call Temi, to share experience with us.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure to meet you all. So I started my IT career or my journey on BCS, I started in 2016. And for me, it was a completely different experience because I was coming in as a complete newbie on the tech scene. So I was thinking, oh my goodness, where am I going to start from? And I was actually wondering, would I be able to cope? How are things going to be? Would I be able to adapt to the curriculum and everything? But I'm really thankful for the support that I received, holding my hand throughout my entire journey and starting off at those fundamental levels in CIT. And, just helping me to understand that, this may seem new to you, but then, just take it one step at a time. And I'm really thankful for that encouragement because it helped me along to keep on pushing myself, to keep on exploring. And I was able to find my area of interest, which is system analysis, as I went along. And even whilst at the CIT level, I began to see the interrelation between the various modules at the CIT level, between computer networks, information systems, and software development. And I was able to see how they're all interrelated and how they all function together. So that helped me to have a firm foundation before progressing on into my area of interest in IT, which is system analysis. So, still moving on in my DIT level, having to undertake the professionals issues course also helped me to, have a more ethical understanding of the IT industry in general. It's not just because, okay, you're a professional in the IT industry and then, you can just take it as it is. But then also being able to see things from the perspective of users and the society in general, which you're helping to provide solutions for and which you're helping to influence positively. So that also helped. And, even as I'm progressing along up onto my PGD level, I still saw the relevance and carrying on what I had already learned from my CIT level, my DIT level, and then applying it at PGD level. And, even after that, after completing my PGD exams and everything, I was able to see how it all comes into play in reality, practically. So even for 1 or 2 projects that I, was able to work on, I was able to see that, it's not just book knowledge, if that's what you're thinking, but then being able to actually apply it in real life and see how you can take what you have learned into the classroom and apply it to solve solutions. So I kept on seeing a lot of things that kept on popping up. I was like, oh, I did this in my CIT, so I understand, how this is now in the real world and coming into play. So talking about planning, ensuring that you're able to bridge the gap between your client and the IT team which you're working with, and working seamlessly and harmoniously together, also really helps to play a big role. And even as I'm exploring other areas too, there are so many things that I see, within the IT industry that, still bring me back to my foundation with BCS, and still helping me to carry on and progress on. So, it's been a really interesting and enlightening experience, thinking that initially you might have some doubts because, oh, you're a newbie, you don't have any tech background, but then, being open-minded and pushing and striving forward, and then you get to see the relevance of it all in today's world and seeing how much it really helps to make a great difference.
All right, thank you very much, Temi. That was exhaustive. Again, that was exhaustive. Again, for someone in Nigeria, basically, if you want to further your education in Nigeria, you're actually required to write JAMB, Joint Admission Matriculation Board. For the BCS qualification, you don't need JAMB. And the interesting thing is that you can start from wherever you are right now. You don't have to get some kind of computer knowledge, prior computer knowledge before you start this. You can start from wherever you are at the moment. The BCS curriculum, the HEQ curriculum is designed in a way to help you from 0 level, whether you don't know anything about computing before. We have dedicated people on ground that is going to help you here in Nigeria. And the way the curriculum has been designed is so infused with a lot of hands-on to help you grow. Temi and Julius joined, like you heard from them years ago, and they knew nothing about computing. And right now they're doing very great wherever they are. Julius, I think you also serve as a graduate assistant where you're working right now, correct?
Yes, currently, yes. Yes, sir.
Wow. So that's very, very interesting, to say this. And again, for me, the joy is to see how people make progress with the HEQ qualification. And not just that, one more thing is that as you progress to the DIT level, you become a professional member of the BCS. And that's very, very good for you, for your career. For those of you that want to join, I'm also saying, look, this is an opportunity for you to jump on and to be part of it. Cheap, it's qualitative, and it will drive you to your professional future in IT career. So you can go check us out, the BCS, on BCS website, and ensure that you enroll. Don't wait until next time, right? You've got to take an action right now. All right, Brian, I get back. Thank you very much.
Cola, thank you so much for that. And can I just say how much you enjoyed Julius and Temi's comments as well. So to hear from people that have been through it and have seen the benefits, that's what this is all about, isn't it? So thank you very much for that. Good to see so many questions still coming in. Quite a few of them are being answered as we go. So feel free to still put them in the Q&A, and we'll catch some of them and discuss them a little bit later as well. But now what we're going to do is introduce Stephen Tweed to you. Stephen is going to talk to us on this subject: how to become a chartered IT professional, the tools to get you to the global pinnacle of excellence. Over to you, Stephen. Thank you.
I hope you can all hear me. Joe, if you got the slides there. I'd just like to comment first of all on how privileged I feel to be back in Nigeria. It's been a while. I did spend about 12 years traveling around Nigeria. I had an office in Zaria, Ibadan and Lagos. And I would travel up to Sokoto and Kaduna and Kano. And so I wouldn't say I understand Nigeria, but I know Nigeria, and it's a dynamic nation, which I like. And I'm sure together with BCS, we can do some great things in creating a society of members with an ethical foundation and a basis of professionalism that will do very well in developing industry in Nigeria. So I'm very pleased to be here. I'm excited for when we finish, and I'm going to be the first one to mention COVID today, but when that's through and I get the opportunity to travel, Nigeria will be the first place I intend to visit. So, so I look forward to seeing you all there in person at some point in the future. Can I just also say, before we move on, to Professor Adesina, Professor Simon, who is also on this call from the Nigerian Computer Society, that we work in collaboration. We're not a competitive force. We're not here to move anybody aside. We're here to collaborate with people. And I'm so pleased that Professor Simon is on today's call. And so I'll be working with him. We've already had several meetings. There are things in the offing to do with professional membership, which you will come to the fore in due time. I can't say anything more than that, but it's all positive, and we're all progressing very nicely, working together and collaborating for the future. Okay, Joe, thanks. So here we go. So what's at the core of what we do here at BCS? And it's our membership. It's very solid, and it's a pathway that you will take to get to where you need to go to. And we signpost it. So we signpost it clearly all the way through to being a chartered professional. Membership is a part of that. It's something that you should use. And when you're beginning your career, particularly at HEQ level, even at the CIT level, embrace your membership, use it, get involved with it, try to understand it and become part of the community. That's the most important thing for us. It's where you will find experience, people to work with, people who will support you, and you can build those networks which will support you through your career. They will help you find future prospects and future jobs and help develop your knowledge. We as an institution, as an organization, are here to help you. So that's really part of what we are at BCS. The qualifications sit alongside and they're core. Yes, no doubt about that. But being a member of BCS is something different, and it's right at the very heart of what we do. So a couple of things on your membership which you should, as student members, be looking at in particular. One is the CV Builder and the CV 360 evaluation, which are great tools, great opportunities for you to test your CV, to see where you would sit in terms of the score that the CV would give you. In particular, getting a mentor is always a possibility, to somebody to help you go through your career. I have to mention IT Now magazine, second oldest IT magazine in the world, because Brian is hosting this call and he's really pleased for me to do so. It gives you all the latest information. And one of the articles that I read most recently was actually by one of your ministers, and I just find his name somewhere, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim, who is actually FCBS. So he would have followed some part of this pathway to get to that level. And so you're in good company joining the HEQ program. The other specific point I want to add to here on the membership side is getting recognized, which we'll talk about as we go through the different levels of membership and through into the chartered areas, but also the communities and the special interest groups, where there is a whole wealth of information. So you can log into and there's tens of them a week, if not hundreds a month, of special interest groups who give talks and presentations about every aspect of ICT. It's a fascinating area. Within those groups, you get to meet people. I was on a call not so long ago talking about Tesla and how artificial intelligence built into Tesla cars makes them more of a kind of a a way of collecting data rather than a vehicle for transporting you around the countryside, which is, you know, is an incredible perspective. And you learn lots of things which will help you within those groups and help you network within those groups. So that's a particular focus for me. I'll see you within those groups if you're inclined to identify a special interest that you like. Please join us. You'll be more than welcome to join us. We need you in those groups to help support and present your point of view, which is very important to BCS. Okay, next, Joe. Okay, so here we are in the membership grades, and I'm going to talk about how this follows through into Chartered IT Professional, which is probably the very highest level that you can aspire to, that many people aspire to within the industry. For those of you, you're at the student level, and that comes in as a matter of course, because you have to be a member of the BCS to be able to sit HEQ. So you're instantly involved. You can instantly be part of that group. You then, if you wish, can move through into Associate AMBCS once you go through to Diploma and Professional Graduate Diploma. So it's the next level along. It requires a year's work in IT, but your qualifications will be relevant within that, and that will allow you to move into that associate level right from the early stages of your pathway through to Chartered Professional. So it's an additional cost, but it is well worth doing, and it's something that I'm working with Professor Simon on at the moment, so that the Nigerian Computer Society is partly involved in developing this process and this pathway forward. Obviously, you get AMBCS, which are the post-nominals, which are letters you can add after your name, and those letters there identify you as member of a professional body. They will give you benefits of membership, of course, but also it's been proven through research that being the member of a professional body will A, help you in your career, and B, provide more revenue or human capital, as some economists like to call it, as you progress through your pathway. As we go through the different professional levels, and I won't go through them all, you do need more experience as you go into the professional level in order to get through to Chartered IT Professional. The professional level requires 5 years IT work, but as an HEQ student, if you pass the diploma, then you only need to reveal within your application process 2 years work experience. And if you pass the full PGD, the Professional Graduate Diploma, then you don't have to show any work experience at that point, but you will need to be supported by someone who knows you, who knows the work that you can do, who knows the professionalism that you're about and the ethics that you hold, and they are your sponsor, and that sponsor would have to be at a similar level to you or the same level to you or above as you progress through that process. So it's all accessible. These terms that we use may seem some way in the distance, but they're absolutely all accessible to our HEQ student members. And they should be something that you look and progress forward to. Okay, Joe, next slide. So a part of that membership pathway, we also come through now into two areas that I want to talk about. One is the Chartered IT Professional, which is the kind of pinnacle of where we are and what we do. And also I'll mention in passing RIT Tech. These are public registers. So as well as progressing through membership, you get the opportunity, certainly at associate member level with RAT Tech, you have the opportunity to register your skills, register your competencies and what you can do. That is a public register, so it allows potential employees to look at the skill set you have, to recognize that you're in a professional role and to register your skills. So they can identify you. You get post-nominals as well. So you have to be associate member. So you're already AMBCS, but then you can add the RIT Tech to that as well. So it's Another way of identifying yourself as a practitioner, that with the high skills that you need to continue within your career. Now on to chartered. So chartered, again, you work towards chartered by becoming a professional member. That involves showing a great deal of experience of managing and operating IT systems, or of teaching in a full-time basis. So you have to show, for instance, the programs that you're using, the IT tools that you are using, and reflect your experience and how you have contributed in some way to the chartered body and to the membership group. So don't just feel that membership is something for you to take out of. Membership is something for you to put into. And that's what we need here at BCS. We need Nigerians, young Nigerians, maybe old Nigerians, maybe old people like me, to contribute their background, their knowledge, their skills, their perspectives on the ICT industry in Nigeria and how that is reflected globally. So it's important that you become part of this group. It's important that you contribute towards membership, and you will benefit from it. Again, at chartered level, it's slightly, as you can imagine, you're at the pinnacle of your career. You've got experience, you've got qualifications, you've shown those qualifications. You then need a sponsor again. So you need somebody who is at the very at a level to you or above in order to sponsor you, and the team who manage the chartered IT professionals will reach out to you and reach out to your sponsor to talk to you or communicate with them about you. But before you can become a chartered IT professional, you also will need to pass an interview, where we have two professionals who will interview you. You will be giving a 10-minute presentation about yourself and your skills, and reflect on that professionalism that you are using within your everyday jobs or your academic career. And then they will interview more about your specialist skills and about your knowledge and about your experience and about your contribution to membership. And that is important, because not everybody becomes a CITP. I'm not a CITP. I'm on the pathway. I'm learning. I've got my books here, which I'm reading, and so I'm studying towards it. Obviously, because of my age, I have quite a lot of experience, so that's not too much of a problem. But I find it a really positive experience, and I hope you will too. And I hope you will continue to learn more about HEQ if you're not a student, learn more about membership if you are a student and studying. And all I can say to you is that good luck and stick at it, keep going. It is the most rewarding industry. It taps into pathways within all industries, whether that's agriculture, the gig economy, manufacturing. IT is involved in everything that you will do in your future careers. And so it's so important that becoming part of a professional body will also allow you to identify with that industry in a very important way. And I think that's me done. I hope that's good enough, Brian, for everybody to see and hear.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephen. That was a very interesting presentation. We had a few comments that some of the slides were difficult to see. Obviously, we don't know whether that's a bandwidth issue or whatever it might be. So I will just say that the presentation slides will be available at the end. For anybody that wants them, please let us know. We will email them to you so you can peruse them at your leisure. And also, thank you, Stephen, for the entirely unprompted promotion of IT Now there, which we much appreciate. And while we're on the subject, actually, and going back to the lovely little presentation that Anne-Marie Imafidon did for us, we do have a regular podcast series as well, where we interview people in the IT industry or in computing who have a particularly interesting story, and particularly to do with making IT good for society. That's called The Gem of All Mechanisms. It's on iTunes and Acast, Spotify, various places. Listen to that if you'd like to. In a couple of months, we will have an episode with Anne-Marie Imafidon, so look out for that one. So what I'm going to do now is move us on to have a conversation together. I'd like to introduce Richard Amafonye. Richard is the CIO of Wema Bank. Hopefully we're going to appear side by side on the picture. I can see you are unmuted, Richard. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone.
So it's great to be able to talk to you, Richard, because obviously people, well, we've already had some questions about how, how can I get a job? What sort of things do employers look out for? Well, you're the man to ask these questions to. You obviously employ a lot of folks in your role. But let's have a general conversation, first of all, just about the general skills landscape. Obviously, technology is woven into everything that we do. So what sort of skills are you looking at the moment that are quite high demand? Can I start there with you?
All right, thank you very much, Brian. To situate things within the right context, I would like to start with an inconvenient truth. Even though, we have become critically dependent on technology, not just for our success as businesses, but for our very survival. Technology does not make things happen. I'll repeat, technology does not make things happen. People do. So it is not so much about what we have, but what we can do with what we have. Technology has no inherent value. The mere possession of technology does not confer any benefits to any organization. Benefits from IT must be unlocked. Benefits only accrue by identifying and managing the business changes that IT enable. So that underscores the importance of having the right people, which also suggests that hopes and opportunities abound for a brighter future for those who are starting off their career in technology. So with that context set, what sort of skills do we look for today? Organizations no longer just look for people with IT or technical bent. Instead, we are looking for people, organizations are looking for people with much broader skill set. People that bring more to the table, more than just their technical skills. People who have very solid understanding of and appreciate business needs, and who are able to translate these business needs into requirements for technology to deliver. Knowledge of operations, knowledge of customer service, project management skills, and persons who may have that special something that's, more like a Midas touch. So today, people who have or who exhibit problem solving intelligence, who have the capacity to solve or when Apple took out the home button on iPhones, that was a hidden problem that was solved. So today, your technical skills is just the ticket to the game. More than ever before, organizations are looking for people with much broader skill set beyond the technical competence.
Yeah, that's an important point. Thank you, Richard. That's excellent. So let me ask you, as you obviously employ a lot of people, what are the challenges you find in attracting and retaining the talent that you get in?
The greatest challenge that we have today is hunt for talent. There is a mismatch between those that are readily available, and the few skills that are readily available are in such high demand that there's work for that you've just got to go into talent war, making sure that what you have, you are able to keep. And with the pandemic, that's made it possible for people to work remotely. we are beginning to see highly technical people being sought after from first world countries. There's so much brain drain. There's a lot of demand for technology specialists outside of the shores of Nigeria. So it's a major, I mean, what keeps me awake every night is keeping the skilled and talented staff that I have in my organization. Almost on a weekly basis, someone comes to he's got a better opportunity and he wants to exploit. So technology has made job opportunities borderless. You can be in Nigeria and be working for organizations in any part of the world. So that's one of the things that really keeps a CIO awake.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, let me ask you about the idea of professionalism as well, just as a concept. We, in England or in the UK, professionalism is a word that tends to send people to sleep a little bit. But I'd just like to ask you about the importance of professionalism in your view in the workforce that you have. What do you look for?
Well, I mean, professionalism has become a requirement of vital necessity. I mean, and it's a trait that, I mean, that we look out for when hiring. We are seeing an increasing trend of privileging character over skills. I mean, we often say that you hire for character and then you train for skills. So professionalism is a sign of dependability and responsibility. I mean, it requires, I mean, competence and ethics for you to be considered a professional. I mean, if you compare to more traditional professions like medicine, like law, you know, and accounting, I mean, they have a body of knowledge that is that govern the training, the skills, and the mapping of professional competence of their members. We're beginning to see an increasing trend towards that in the IT profession. Given how critical we have become dependent on technology for our survival, it's only important that that the people who we entrust these very critical assets to, you know, aspire, you know, to perform to certain standards and commit to excellence. So that need for professionalism has become really very important, and it's a requirement that we look out for, you know, in sourcing candidates.
Do you think that there's enough awareness of things like ethics in the people that you see coming in for work? Are they clued up as to some of the issues that we face now ethically in IT?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, and that's a very huge gap. I have advocated, you know, that ethics should become an integral part of the curriculum that we offer in our schools. You know, most candidates leave school without having that grounding, without being all rounded for the work environment. You know, so ethics is something very important, and that's where the likes of BCS comes readily to play. With every sense of humility and modesty, you know, I always get compliments to say, hey, there's something different about you. I don't even notice it, but thinking through of this sort of training and exposure and continuous professional development that we are subjected to via the BCS platform, you know, you just have to act naturally in a certain way. So it is something that that you pick up, I mean, along the line, and that's the importance of belonging to a professional body like the BCS.
Yeah, lovely. And what I'm hearing pretty clearly from you, Richard, is that you really like the soft skills as well as the so-called hard skills. Is that what you look for first of all when you interview people?
Yes, I mean, I'll say the technical skills is just the tickets to the game. It's your soft skills, your capacity to become aware of the organizational nuances of the place of technology, the importance of technology, and the need to balance, propositions with excellence in delivery. That's really what sets candidates apart from the pack.
I think that's an excellent expression. Hard skills or technical skills are just the ticket to the game. And then to get involved in the game, to be picked for the side, you need the soft skills. That's excellent.
Absolutely right.
I got one other question for you here. What advice would you give, Richard, to those that want to advance their career in IT? So maybe just in their early stages at the moment.
All right. Where do I start? Okay, let me put it this way, that most things in life are like sports. Every sport has got a set of principles that successful athletes master to achieve winning results. So, like in technology, there are certain principles and certain traits that stand you out. Allow me to illustrate the qualities that I've observed from experience that set people apart by referencing Larry Wall's famous virtues of great programmers. According to Larry Wall, by the way, Larry Wall was the person that developed the Perl programming language. He did say that a great programmer, and by extension, anyone that works in the technology domain, must exhibit 3 virtues. 1 is laziness, 2 is impatience, and 3 is hubris. So impatience, laziness, and hubris. Let's start with impatience. Why write 20 lines of code when 2 lines can achieve the same result? Why work for 10 hours when you can achieve the same result in 1 hour? There is nothing so useless, according to Peter Drucker, the famous management guru, as doing efficiently something which should not be done in the first instance. So this virtue speaks, to the quality of being outcome oriented. It speaks to the quality and the capacity of being able to identify and solve problems. So it's about being solution oriented. If you are not lazy, in fact, sometimes when we encounter certain systems, you are left with this impression that our brains are hardwired to get used to hassles and frustrations. But lazy people will ask questions and they will find a very simple way of doing it. So laziness is one of the attributes that I look out for people. I will encourage those who are starting off their career to imbibe, looking for the best possible approaches to solving problems. That's 1. 2 is impatience. There's so much bureaucracy in organization and red tapes. But if you are impatient, this speaks to your capacity of using your initiative and being resourceful, having a bias for action. I'm not waiting for permission slips or instructions from above to do what has to be done. So you've also got to be very, very action oriented. And then finally is hubris. Hubris, I like to refer to hubris as confident humility. It speaks to the attribute of imbibing the ethic of excellence. It is only when you have done a fantastic job that you take great pride in doing great pride in what you have done. It's important that you take pride in what you have done as well as in the process of achieving that. That is being accountable process-wise. More importantly, also for people who are starting off their careers, there's nothing wrong in admitting that you do not know. There's nothing wrong in asking for help. Admitting our shortcomings or when we are wrong makes us look more professional. There is nothing that tarnishes professionalism like defending failure or pretending to know when you do not know. It signals or displays an honesty and willingness to learn. And as we all know, the key to success is constant learning. So those are the three things that I'll suggest. Be lazy by looking for the best and easiest way, keeping things simple, looking for the easiest ways of solving problems. 2, be impatient, be action oriented. Don't wait, for permission slips to do what has to be done. Find opportunities to solve problems, and then take great pride in your job. And you can only take great pride in your job when you have done an excellent job.
Richard, that's excellent. Now, we've had a couple of questions on that. We're going to open up to all the panelists for questions in a moment, but let me put a couple to you that have come in as you were speaking. Is Richard saying that impatience is the same thing as being proactive?
Absolutely. Why wait for instructions from on high to do what you know that you've got to do?
Okay.
Using your initiative and resourcefulness is a virtue. And it's only people who are impatient. You don't want to wait for your boss or executives to be the one that are defining an agenda for you. Once the mission of the organization and the strategy is defined, you've got to run with it by coming up with creative ideas to fulfilling those mandates. And that's what sets people apart in the workplace.
Now, we had another question from Martin. He didn't hear your third one. He said he heard impatience and laziness. He didn't get the third word.
Hubris.
Hubris. Hubris. For another person that asked for the spelling. That's hubris. Thank you very much. Now, thank you, first of all, Richard, for talking to us. You give us an excellent bit of perspective there from an employer. What we're going to do is we're going to, if we can ask Joaquin to put it on a sort of general view of the screen for speakers, then we can have a few of us on just to have a Q&A towards the end here, which would be handy. So if Richard would stay on as well. I thought what we could do is go through some of the questions that we've got here already and just re-look at one or two of the ones that we've answered in the chat, just for the general audience. The first one is, are IT workers professional, which Stephen has just been asking. Let's ask about professionalism. Zoe, would you like to just come in and talk to us a little bit about the importance of professionalism from our perspective here at BCS as well?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't think everybody's professional, that's for sure. There's so much said about the IT industry on a negative side in terms of people scamming others and people working against society in general. So that's for sure. Not all IT workers are professional in that regard. At BCS, what is it? It's everything for me, actually. It's people willing to listen, people understanding, willing to share their experience, willing to share their expertise, having the knowledge, having the competencies, which is a big word, a big part of professionalism, to actually deliver what they say they can deliver. When you strip the fundamentals from myself, I'm a salesman, really. And what I do is go around and promote exams such as HEQ and others. But I like to do it in the best way possible and understanding the customers that I work with and showing them that BCS as an organization also is willing to support them and support their knowledge in what we do. And I think that's all part of it.
Lovely, thank you. So, Zoe, did you have a point on that as well?
Well, Steve's just summed that up, but I think particularly to echo what Richard said about, it's okay to say I don't know, and it's okay to ask questions. That does not make you appear to be unprofessional in any way. Everybody would much rather have that honest, candid approach in dealing with somebody, and that's where your professionalism comes through, in knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know, but how to find it out. And I think that's that point Richard made is absolutely key in everything we do at BCS.
Lovely, thank you, Zoe. We've had a sort of technical question in here. I don't know who can answer this one. Do we need to drop our emails here for getting the slides? How are we going to send that? Are we just going to send them out to all the attendees? Does anyone? I think
we're sending the slides out to everybody who's registered. So even those that haven't managed to make it onto the live session will still receive the presentation and the slide.
Okay, so we'll do that automatically. Thank you for that question. I had a question here from an anonymous today. I have a diploma in IT. What's the way forward? wave if you'd like to answer that one. Stephen looks keen.
Well, I mean, if you've got the basic diploma, then try to go for the PGD. That's the next step forward for you. I don't know if you're working, whoever the question is, but if you are, then you're gaining experience at the same time, which is good. Within membership, you can keep track of your professionalism and your and additional skills that you collect along the way. Also spreading the network of knowledge that you have and gaining knowledge from others within membership. So, I mean, when I was thinking about these slides, I was going to put on a slide that I once saw in a presentation, which was Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, where she asks, which way do I go? And the cat says, where are you going? And Alice replies, I don't know. And the cat replies, well, it doesn't matter which way you go then, if you don't know where you're going. And I think what membership and what we do here at BCS is give people a signpost to where they should be going. And I think within the membership and within speaking to us and maybe looking for a mentor, if the particular person who asked the question is interested, then that's something that they should try to do. And I'd be more than happy to help.
Lovely. Thank you, Stephen. Question here for Richard, if I can bring you in, Richard. Jonzo has asked this question for an experienced IT professional who wants to switch to other aspects of IT. How can we help them gain the needed hands-on experience without considering their age? Because age has always been benchmarked for most entry or mid-level jobs.
Unfortunately so, simply because of the level and rate of unemployment. Otherwise, to me, age is just a number. It's the values that you bring, is the difference that you are bringing to the workplace that matters, not so much about your age. I mean, but somehow organizations use age to filter out. I mean, if you advertise for a position and you have 1,000 people applying for that position, you just have to get some filters to reduce, to prune down. But personally, I really don't consider age as a barrier for upskilling, as long as you are willing, to learn and unlearn. I mean, it's important to learn, and it's also more important to unlearn. That should count more. I would privilege that capacity and willingness to learn and unlearn over every other consideration.
Thank you. Kola, do you consider that to be a problem, ageism? Because we want to encourage people to move careers at any time, really, don't we?
Well, I don't think age is a factor. Like Richard said, lately we started seeing people around the age of 60 and 50 in Nigeria learning and living their dreams, especially because employers need a lot of energy and vibe to move their work. They would rather want to employ people that are of younger age, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot switch careers and pursue a career path for yourself. You can, and you should not be limited by your age in any way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kola. We had a question about whether we can do online exams. I'm sure somebody wants to pick that up, Stephen.
I can, or Zoe can. I'll leave it to Zoe.
Yes, I just spotted that one. We're always looking at how we can develop and improve our offer and across BCS generally, and HQ exams very much wrapped up into that. We need to make sure that whatever we do is right for the most amount of people. And so that's a challenge we have with HEQ because of the breadth of the landscape it sits across, but we are always looking at ways to have digital first at the forefront of what we're doing and how we're moving forward with HEQ. So I appreciate that feedback. It's always good to hear from people about what they feel we should be doing as well as what we think we should be doing. So we'll take that away. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Zoe. Very good. I had a question here from Ahmed Ali Salah about, it says that they're a nurse presently, humanitarian trainer, and they work full time. Please tell me more on the flexibility part, the average period of graduation from the CIT, DIT, and so on. What can we say about that sort of, how one fits one's studies in and that sort of thing? Who'd like to pick that one up, Stephen?
Kola, I reckon.
Kola, okay.
Okay, well, like during our presentation, we shared with you that we have the BCS program is structured in a way that you can do your study at a self-paced, regardless of how busy you are. But again, if what you mean is if you can be part of a training, yes, you can. There are flexible structures that we have put in Nigeria to help people here who want to, who have the kind of busy schedule that you have. You can offer the distance learning module, or you can offer the weekend module. So yes, there's a provision for you.
Lovely, thank you. Did Temi or Julius perhaps have an experience with learning alongside work?
Yes, I do. I had to work while I was studying because I needed to source for my education. So I had the experience of working while learning.
Good, thank you. And also experience of phone calls during webinars. It always happens, doesn't it? No problem. Temi, was it the same for you? Did you have to do it alongside work, or?
For me, at some point, I started interning. So it was a bit flexible for me to be able to balance the two. And apart from that, to be able to pick the modules that I felt I was ready for, you know, for preparing for an exam. So it was quite flexible for me also.
Lovely, thank you, Temi. Now, I've had some questions in here, which I'm going to ask this, and this might go on for Zoe or Stephen. It might one we have to pick up later. This is a question from Adewale, a veteran in Nigeria, present on the verge of becoming a graduate in computer science. At what level would I be if I joined the BCS? I think that might be professional member, but Zoe?
I'll bounce that straight to you, Steve.
Yeah, question. I think you would probably come in somewhere. Yeah, and because you have the experience and you have the knowledge within that degree program, you would need a sponsor to start with, but you could join probably somewhere at professional level, because HEQ, if you're a PGD at HEQ, then you don't have to give any evidence of your kind of employment history, but you do still need to pass the other criteria, which involved your qualifications, but also having a sponsor, and also then having a discussion with other professionals to get passed into that level. So yeah, no, I'd go for that if I was you.
Thank you, Stephen. Richard, can I put this one towards you? Patrick has asked this. Most employers look for someone with experience. How is it possible for someone who is new to IT to get a job offer? You're a man that looks at that. What sort of things do you look for?
Now, it depends. It depends on the opening. I mean, we often build talent pipelines. So if you do not have experience, of course, we want to bring you through the talent pipeline. When job openings are advertised, normally a distinction is made whether it's for experienced hire or for entry-level type employment. So it's always very important that you pay attention to the job requirement. I mean, in the technology space, there are so many ways to gain experience without you necessarily working for an established organization. I mean, like Teni did mention that she interned at some point while she was studying, you know, and you can also, I mean, get involved in pro bono type arrangements just to build up, you know, your resume. So it does not necessarily mean that you have to work for an established organization before you gain the required experience to gain proper employment.
Thank you, Richard. Another question we've had here, does BCS have plans to get trainees connected to opportunities for intern experience in IT organizations?
I can pick up that a little bit because, yeah, we as part of the HEQ, I mean, a part of my other role is working with industry and working with training people within industry using professional certifications. So we're certainly in contact with industry, and industry forms quite a big part of what we do in the BCS in the UK. We have a new jobs board coming up with membership, and although that is UK-focused jobs board. My understanding is that it will evolve into an international jobs board in the future. How long that will take, I don't know. But yeah, we see at the core of what we do, and the reason for doing HEQ is to get people into jobs, is to get people working in the jobs that they want to do and they like, and progress them through their careers. So yeah, that's something that we're aiming for, definitely.
Lovely, thank you, Stephen. One for Cola here. Does CompuNet or BCS recommend students who pass the exams outstandingly to professional bodies for job offers, either in the UK or in Nigeria?
Yes, so over the years, what we have done is to partner with a couple of other bodies, especially IT companies and or organizations that wish to drive their services through IT. We do some kind of recommendations for students and also to tell them, look, these opportunities out there, and also try to connect them, like industry experience, like Temi just mentioned. I think it's also very important that while studying, students should have some kind of experience, some kind of hands-on experience. So what you can do is by interning, you find that you're already gaining a lot of industry experience. After your training, it's easier for you to be able to be incorporated into such organizations. But to answer directly, yes, we do.
Lovely, thank you very much. Just a quick shout out in the chat here from Blair, who's just brought to my attention the Embrace group, which you may not have heard of. It's quite a new BCS specialist group. It's all about increasing diversity in IT. She's also put a link in there. Have a look at that. That's worth having a little look at. Now, how are we doing with our questions? We're getting them whittled down, and we're more or less at the end of our time. Got a specific one on with a specific tech focus. I'm working toward becoming a business analyst. I'm writing the level 4 IT certificate. What's advisable to do? Any thoughts? I suppose that's where you want to go with your career, is it? But Stephen.
Yes, well, funnily enough, I'm writing my business analysis. I'm doing my business analysis foundation course now. So I was going to just look for my book, but it's covered in papers at the moment because I am studying for it at this moment in time. Okay. And that itself is kind of reflective of the kind of age thing we were talking about before. You're never too old to learn. And when I picked up business analysis when I first joined BCS, speaking to some of the training providers, I thought there's a lot in here I don't know. And I've been in business 30 years. So I would complete your CIT, certainly. We do professional certification, Kola will know because he delivers it, in business analysis. That is a program in itself. It requires, certainly as you move through the program, more experience within a role. So that's important. But I think as a foundation, having CIT, even diploma is a good foundation for moving forward in business analysis, definitely.
Thank you, Steve. Are you saying that if you can learn things, anybody can? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I usually have to read it twice or 3 times. That's the trouble.
Yeah, same here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Brian, can I just?
Thank you. Yes.
Now, let me make this point again, that it is not what you have that it's important, but what you can do with what you have. Today, there's so much talk about robotics process automation. I don't like it. It conjures up the wrong images for me. I would rather use repetitive process automation. So if you are a business analyst, there is a growing need for people who understand operations and then who can come up with streamlined processes for repetitive process automation. I mean, to be able to deal with that. That's a growing area of need. So try and get some insights and some specific areas in the application of RPA in organizations as a business analyst. And trust me, you will be in so much, you'll be in high demand. That's a growing area of needs today.
Lovely. Thank you, Richard. Can I thank you all for your participation today, not only in the chat here, but throughout the presentations. It's been really insightful. We've had a nice comment from Martin here. Insightful webinar. My feedback is to improve the exam venues and training centres to ensure that participants do not incur so much expenses. A lot of smart people in Nigeria, but very poor and a very low income. Interesting feedback there. There's a lot about the digital divide that BCS are working on even as we speak. And there's all sorts of issues implied there in there, but there's been a lot of very interesting information today, folks. We appreciate the insight. We have a closing talk to be given to us now, which we're looking forward to. So we'll ask Professor Adesina Simon Sodia, if you turn your camera on, please. Professor, that'd be handy. President of the Nigerian Computer Society, and he's going to close our event for us. Any questions that we haven't picked up, we'll try and pick up later. As we mentioned before, we will be sending out the presentation slides. So can I hand over to Professor Sodia, please? Thank you.
Okay. I want to believe you can all hear me.
We can.
Okay. Well, as the president of Nigerian Computer Society, I'm delighted to be part of this great event. Nigerian Computer Society is the umbrella body for all IT practitioners, interest groups, and stakeholders in Nigeria. Nigerian Computer Society has been the foremost IT body, championing IT development in Nigeria for over 4 decades now. Nigerian Computer Society, NCS, has been the voice of IT professionals and has consistently building collaborative efforts for promoting modern IT education. I wish to mention here that NCS, BCS have the same focus in IT education. And this is why this program is promoted and indeed supported by Nigerian Computer Society. On behalf of the National Executive Council of our dear society, I wish to indeed appreciate the organizer of this event, British Computer Society. As we know, British Computer Society has been in the vanguard of computer science, IT education at all levels all over the world. Over the years, BCS has been neoteric and innovative in the promotion of IT development and education. And of course, you can naturally attest to that by this kind of program they are having today. The program today is starting out for a future career in IT in Nigeria has been valuable and impactful. I believe all participants have benefited immensely from it. The program has been able to showcase the educational pipeline of professional educational pipeline of BCS, and the program has also provided robust information about membership of BCS. With this extraordinary and common support from British Computer Society, I want to further encourage all our young ones that are interested in pursuing career in IT to take this program that we have had today very serious. A lot has been said today, and I'm sure that most of the people that have listened to this program, they have benefited, they have been given direction on what to do in order to pursue career in IT. And let me say here that Nigerian Computer Society actually has a long tradition with British Computer Society. Several years ago, NCS established strong collaboration with BCS. Also, the president of BCS between 2014 and 2015, and that is Professor Liz Bacon, actually attended our program physically in Abuja, the program of Computer Professional Registration Council of Nigeria. That is the IT Assembly. And recently, we have taken this partnership further by also trying to establish a renewed collaboration and partnership with British Computer Society. Of course, we have been discussing with Faith, Brian, and of course, Otta. We have been discussing on ways of collaborating effectively with British Computer Society. Let me also inform us that the chairman NCS committee that is reviewing the partnership document with BCS is also attending this event. And I also want to, her name again is Professor Noshoga. I think she is also attending this event. And some of our members also are actually attending this event because Nigerian Computer Society indeed advertised and promoted this event. Well, at this point, I wish to mention to us that membership of Nigerian Computer Society is also open to all IT practitioners in Nigeria and beyond. Anybody that has studied computer science, information technology, software engineering, cybersecurity is qualified to be a member of Nigerian Computer Society. The society is also open to all IT users and anyone interested in IT in Nigeria. You are all kindly requested to visit the website of NCS to get acquainted with our activities and programs. I want to inform everyone that the 2021 Society physically between 3rd and 5th of August 2020. NCS has also decided to invite the president of BCS, John Higgins. I don't know whether he's still part, we are still going to further discuss with him. The president of BCS are planning to bring him on board as a special guest and speaker at our international conference that is coming up in August. Once again, I want to especially thank BCS for showing special interest in Nigeria. Well, maybe this is because we have a lot of BCS members in Nigeria. I also want to use this opportunity to thank all the participants, speakers that are drawn all over the world. Most especially, I also want to recognize and mention the name of my brother, Mr. Richard, the CIO of Wema Bank, who has done great work at this event. I thank all guests at this event for their contribution. Finally, I cannot end my presentation without appreciating the organizer of this program again. With this, and also I want to appreciate them for inviting me to be part of this session. I know that with this invitation, I'm indeed assured of a great partnership between SCS and British Computer Society. I want to especially also appreciate the team from BCS for what we have been doing for their interest in Nigerian Computer Society and Nigeria as a whole. Thank you and God bless you all. Long live Nigerian Computer Society, long live Nigeria, long live British Computer Society, and long live United Kingdom. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for your closing remarks there, Professor. We very much appreciate that. Can I thank all the speakers? It's been such an interesting session. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. The video will be available shortly on the BCS YouTube channel. Please look out for that. We will send the slides out to everybody. Thank you so much for your questions. We had about 60 questions, really good, lots of interaction. And so we'd like to thank you, and I will bring this to a conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.